Yo, week 7, guys. Welcome back. Cashing Points Livestream. I'm Graham, as I'm joined by Scott Barrett and John Proctor, like always. Want to also mention off the top, guys, if you want to go back and listen to this show after it's posted, usually late Friday night, definitely by Saturday morning, go back in up in the media channel, hit premium podcast. You can listen to this podcast style. Because honestly, who the hell wants to look at our faces for an hour and a half? I mean, come on, let's be honest. So if you want to do that, hop in there and do that. Guys, week 7. It's been, I don't know how you guys feel, but it's been amazing having 6 fewer teams to analyze this week, 3 fewer games. And we got a 10-game slate here that I like quite a bit. I know I probably won't be consensus, but I like the shorter slates. I like kind of uglier slates because everything's kind of wide open. And this week in particular, there's one game that I think ownership is just going to flock to. So I like this slate quite a bit. But Scott, John, how are you guys feeling this week, man?
Good. I don't like this slate as much as last week, but this is a good one.
Yeah. I didn't feel great about it on like Wednesday. And then as of this week has gone on, I feel just much more comfortable with it. Obviously, this week, too, we don't have a lot of injury. We have a lot of injury news, but not like last week. Last week was a freaking apocalypse. Scott, how you doing, dude?
I'm doing good. Also, shout out to Tiny on Discord, who's been doing the Spark Notes of this show. So you can check that out on Discord as well. Yeah, so I think before we go game by game, we should kind of do a breakdown of the overarching slate as a whole, specifically for tournaments. On the JM pod, I said I hated this week. I said it was really gross just because there are all these high total games. It's like, okay, so what team do you want to stack? I mean, the Rams with a 33.5 point total, Cardinals right behind them, Chiefs right behind them, Bucks right behind them, the Packers, Titans, Lamar and the Ravens. And so I thought my analysis was just going to be, who do you play? Yeah, good luck. Sometimes that's just, I hate when it is that, but sometimes it's really just like, yeah, pick a name out of a hat. They're all great. But I don't think that's where I'm at now. Now I think I have really laser focused on one side, and it's probably the chalkiest side, but I like it. And I'm feeling a lot better about this slate. I think this is a fun slate. I always historically first 3 or 4 weeks, not as profitable as weeks 5 on. A big reason for that is, the DFBeers model comes out, all these models I've been holding back on, they come out, more fresh data to analyze, get a better sense of all these teams. But it's also buys. Buys are huge, like less to sift through means, my analysis is more concentrated, it's better. But yeah, let's talk about the slate as a whole before we move game by game. And so, like I said, I thought I was going to start off by saying, pick a name out of the hat, but our projections say Patrick Mahomes, far and away, best quarterback play of the slate. 2 best running back plays in the slate, Darrell Williams and Derrick Henry, not in that order. And then 3, 4, 5 are for Fournette, Henderson, and James Conner, not in order, which I think makes all the sense in the world, especially with, we love Mahomes. And then the one thing he has going for him is good game script. It projects to be a shootout, pass-heavy shootout against the Titans, 2 of the 4 worst pass defenses in football, 57.5 point over-under. That's 7.5 points more than the next closest team, whereas Arizona, 17.5 point favorites, Rams, 16 point, Bucks, 13 points. And so you could just go all in on Kansas City, Tennessee, and then lock up all the points in what should be a run-heavy blowout. James Conner gets 2 touchdowns. He hits. Darrell Henderson is who he's been. He smashes. Fournette is who he's been the last 3 weeks. He smashes. Number 1 wide receiver play, Devontae Adams. It's a lot tougher for me between Adams and Kupp than our projections imply. But yeah, I mean, makes all the sense in the world. Number 2, Tyreek Hill. Number 3 or 4, Nick Westbrook Kinney, something like that.
I think it's Akina.
Akina.
I just call him IKEA.
And IKEA prices this week too. And so it just seems like our projections have just made this very similar. And I don't like to go against our projections because our projections are shockingly right a crazy amount of time. And so, yeah, I think that's where I'm at. Where are you guys at? How are you looking at this slate as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, that's the big question this week is the Chiefs or not the Chiefs.
And how chalky is that going to be, Johnny?
Really, that'll be the most popular game. People, we've talked about this like 3 times now at this point, but people don't want to play these teams with huge team totals when they don't have a good opponent. And I think it's generally a mistake. And the Chiefs Titans game is going to end up overowned. I mean, obviously it's a good game, but it's going to end up overowned because it's sort of like the easy way out for a game stack.
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at too. I mean, a lot of the ownership projections have, Mahomes, especially on FanDuel, where you can kind of do what you want on FanDuel this week at quarterback. Like Mahomes is going to be 25-30%. That's the thing. Jeez. And then, you know exactly what people are going to do with Mahomes.
I mean,
it's a great game though. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from the game. But.
Any of these games could break the slate. If Matthew Stafford in a revenge game wanted to throw 500 yards and 5 touchdowns in the Lions, he could. It's just a matter of, if he wants to or not, I think. So that's kind of a bummer that it's super highly owned. Is there a way to get unique with that? Because some of the lineups I've made so far, and I usually don't start making lineups this early, are really interesting, where it's Mahomes, Tyreek, Henry, and Adams. And I don't think a lot of people are going to go that route. Just because I don't think a lot of people are going to think that's possible. But I still like those lineups where I went very stars and scrubs, but I like the scrubs. Like I'm playing Deshaun Jackson up against the league's second worst pass defense as a cheap exposure to Stafford. He's going to get like 4 targets, all deep targets, but I mean, he just needs to hit one of those. And if he hits 2 of those, big time smash, then you get Rashad Bateman's of the world, Tyler Johnson's, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Dante Pettis. And so the core is that super expensive, 4 core, but then I think some legitimately good upside punts. Johnny hates it.
I think the punts are pretty bad this week.
Yeah, well, the good thing is I think that there's a lot of them, so I can just stick with that core and then mix and match.
All right, let's start going through this slate. We only have 10 games this week, so we should be able to kind of get into the weeds here a little bit. First game is Bengals Ravens. Ravens are 6.5 point favorites. The over-under opened at like 48. It kind of hung around 47, and it looks like it's stuck around 46 the last couple of days. Really, the only injury news in this game is on the Ravens side. Latavius Murray and Sammy Watkins are both likely out. By the time, if you're listening to this Saturday, they'll both probably be ruled out by then. Latavius hasn't practiced all week, and Sammy Watkins has a hamstring injury. So that means he's probably out for the rest of the year. Man, I mean, Joe Mixon got there for us last week. We were all over it. Proctor was all over it. Let's start with the Bengals side because I think they're really interesting. They opened up this year extremely run heavy. They went 45% run heavy in neutral situations. So that's game within a score of first 3 quarters. That was the 6th highest rate in the league. Now, over the last 3 games, as Burrow's kind of got more comfortable and gotten back in the swing of things, the Bengals are way more pass heavy. They're 65% pass heavy in neutral situations. That's the 7th highest rate in the league. And, this Ravens secondary has given up boom games, man. I mean, they've given it up, 435 to Carr. Mahomes got him for 3 touchdowns. Carson Wentz threw for over 400 yards. And Justin Herbert just played, the worst game of his career last week. I don't know, man. I mean, Scott, you're kind of referring to it. This game is definitely slower paced, but if the Ravens get out to a lead and we kind of get Burrow with his foot on the gas for really the first time